So, like I said, when we're talking about just kind of real life examples, is money wise. I always relate it to finances. Nutrition and finances kind of go hand in hand. You don't expect to get rich overnight. Now you have these get rich quick schemes, right? How many of those actually work? Now there's a few that do it, but as fast as they got their money, as fast as they lost it as well. So that's how it comes out to the results as well. Like, you want quick results. Let's do the juicing. Let's do the detoxes. Let's take these pills. Let's do these wraps, whatever. Because all these people say this stuff works. This detox, let me just only drink, apple juice for 7 days. And,
one can of tuna every 7 days.
And let me see, weight drop off in the week that I want. But they don't realize that after they stop doing that and they go back to their normal habits, they gain twice as much.
Yeah, twice as much and all back.
Twice as much.
Now, I really want to touch on something you said. It's about people being uncomfortable and then accepting change or not. Now, we've all came from a time where we were all overweight. I want to bring to surface when we were so uncomfortable being overweight that we decided that it was time to fucking do something about it. I'll go first. When I was young, I was 300 pounds at 13 years old. And I could literally sit down, because I got picked on all through high school. I got picked on all through junior high and all through middle school and all that good stuff. I would literally sit down and rolls of fat would actually come over so bad, like I couldn't even see my feet when I would sit down, to the point where I would literally grab at it, pull on it, and I would actually get so frustrated, I would actually begin to cry because I was so pissed off about being so fat. And it got to the point where I'll never forget this as long as I live. I was in 7th or 8th grade. It was Edison Junior High. It's not Edison Junior High anymore. I was in front of the band hall with one of my buddies, and 4 kids were actually throwing rocks at us, and me in particular, because I was so overweight. Like literally grabbing and throwing rocks at us, me and this other guy, to the point where it was so loud, one of the band directors inside the band hall came out to find out what was going on, and it turned into this huge fiasco. Like, I was completely fucking embarrassed. And then I think a couple of days after that, I actually got an old broomstick and I put bricks on it, and I actually started to research weightlifting, and I actually started to do these exercises with just a broomstick and bricks. That was the moment when I had decided that I'd no longer want to be this. I don't want to be like this anymore. And slowly, like in 9th grade and 10th grade, everything just really started to change. I want to know what it was like for y'all. And I only say that because I know that there's going to be somebody who's in a position where they're so fucking uncomfortable, but they just don't feel like they're ready because they maybe feel like somebody's just hasn't been at that level, is not at that level, or will never be at that level. Now, I can't imagine anybody at the point where they're actually getting rocks thrown at them because they're so overweight, but who knows? So if you I would welcome that information right now, because I guarantee somebody would need to hear it.
You want to start first, or me?
Go for it, man.
Okay. Again, man, like it's kind of like a compound of many things, but I will say that I was fortunate enough to not have to, and I'm sorry, I know you've told me this story a million times about when you were younger and stuff, but I was fortunate enough to not have to go through the bullying, man. I've always been just a real friendly person.
Yeah.
I've never, maybe a handful of times, more than anything, man, to be completely and truly honest with you, if I ever heard anything about my weight, it was family. Oh, mira, gordo, stuff like that. Okay, thank you. You're making me feel great.
Because that's that tough
Christmas.
love. Yeah,
I'm trying to
thanks.
eat, and you're making me feel fat. I'm hungry. You know what I'm saying? Like, honestly, that's where it came from. My mom would come and hug me. Oh, mijo, you're fat.
Thanks, Mom.
You want to fight now or later? I didn't say that because, chancla come from
way above. Yeah, way above and beyond and behind.
Sandals.
Mexican weapon of choice.
So, the list of things that did happen, is like going, okay, we'll start from where I've already touched on, playing with my children.
Yeah.
Tired. Overweight, fat, breathing heavy, couldn't do it. 5 minutes at a time, I was like, okay, that's enough. Y'all go sit down. What kind of life is that for children? play for 5 minutes, go sit down. I got you all riled up.
Now go sit down. Y'all go get in front of the TV. Yeah, leave me alone for a second.
Yes, exactly. And then we'll do it tomorrow again for 5 minutes. Yeah. You know, that's not a life for a kid. And then something as simple, you know, it bled into other things, man. Going, okay, I love Texas Roadhouse. We'd go out to eat. They'd be like, okay, let's sit you here at this booth. There I go, trying to squeeze in a booth. That wasn't happening. It was like, you know, let me get some of that cinnamon butter, bro. I gotta grease up. You know, so things like that, man. Just trying to go and have a good time with my family. I couldn't, you know.
Really?
You just, like, those things that people don't think about, man. Like, you know,
it's like you couldn't fit in the booth.
Yeah.
Really?
Dude, I literally, like, my gut would be like fighting that table. Like, if that table could talk, he'd be like, bro, get off of me. Like, you know, those kinds of things are like, you know, anything, you know, clothes shopping, man, going and realizing you're buying 3-4X shirts to feel comfortable, you know, just and even then, man, like, I always gave myself this illusion, if I got a little bit smaller shirt that fit me a little more snug, you know, oh, it's not as bad as I thought. Yeah, it is, motherfucker. It is that bad.
It is that bad.
Yeah, when you convince yourself that 3X is, you know, too small for you, and you're still convincing yourself you look okay, that's not a good place to be in.
No, dude.
And, you know, so things like that, man. Like, now, I'll take my kids to the park. What do? Daddy hits the slide with them. It doesn't matter how big the slide is. I'm going to go down it. Man, so pretty much that, you know, that was it, man. And, man, I don't know how, you know, like,
how did you?
I'm gonna speak on something very delicately, but even as far as intimacy with my wife, those kinds of things were affected, man.
Well, it's kind of a big deal. I mean, it becomes a real issue when it gets to that certain level. And I've heard of this before, but you're telling me that it actually got so bad to the point where it actually really started to affect you and your wife's relationship.
Yes.
On that level.
Absolutely, man. You know, you try to be intimate with your significant other, whether it be your girlfriend, your fiance, your wife, man, and whenever it's a burden on that, man, because, you know, when you want to have alone time with your loved one, man, and you're too tired, or everything honestly is a struggle, man. I'm not going to hold anything back. Like, seriously, like, you know, there's some things that are just absolutely a struggle, and then you feel gross about yourself, man. You just feel absolutely disgusted with yourself. And, I mean, Lord, you know, Lord bless me with an amazing wife. I love her to death. She's never, ever sat there and been like, really, you know, or anything like that. She always made me feel better about myself. But, you know, deep down, I'm not going to lie to myself. I know what happened. I know what's going on. Like, fix it.
Did you struggle with that? Did you struggle with how you felt and what she was telling you?
I mean, how do you feel like a man? Well, you know, whenever you have issues like that, you know? How do you feel like a man? That's like, honestly, like, to take us down to the base, the bare minimum of what we are. We were put on this earth, and we, you know, procreate, and you do the best you can, and it's not good enough, you know, because you know, there's a long time, honestly, man. We didn't think she was going to be able to get pregnant because of me. Because of my overweight issue, you know.
What did you guys? Was it kind of an assumption thing, or did you actually go to a doctor?
It was an assumption thing. I was too scared to be like, let me go in and get this checked. Maybe I'm, you know. It never got to that point, but, you know, like, honestly, you know, her getting pregnant with Dolly was a complete surprise. Like,
really?
So I was like, oh, okay, maybe I still work. So yeah, that was another big thing, man. You know, that's another part that people don't like to talk about, but that's
well, it's a serious thing. Like, it's a real issue when you're in that position. Now, you got to keep in mind, a lot of people are not in that kind of situation where it's gotten to the point where now intimacy is being affected, because you don't think about it. You know, you think about, oh, well, you know, I'm gonna get looks from people, or, oh, you know, I gotta buy bigger clothes, I gotta spend more money on clothes, or now I gotta get to the point where I need assistance just walking around. But it doesn't get that real until you realize, like, okay, now this is actually affecting sex with my wife or my husband, and the fact that you're right. It fucks with you because you're a man, and because this is one of the primary things that a man is supposed to be capable of. And even though she's telling you, It's all right. I love you. It's okay. Don't worry about it. In your head, you being as upset with yourself, as disgusted with yourself, as frustrated with yourself. I mean, take me into that. Take me into that mindset where you were just like, what the fuck?
Dude, honestly, it is just a downward spiral. You feel that once, and you never want to feel it again. But unfortunately, because of the situation, because it hasn't changed, you're going to continue feeling it, and it's going to get worse every time until you decide to say, I have to fix this. And it is the absolute worst feeling. It's bad enough to already know that you couldn't play with your kids or that you couldn't fit in a booth at a restaurant, but to absolutely know that you couldn't, fulfill the role as a lover to your significant other, like that's a different, that's a different
that's
feeling.
A whole different.
That's stripping a man of his essence.
How did that not just destroy you?
Because I knew it could be fixed, man. I knew, like, it was already at that point where I was like, you know what, dude, you can fix this. You can stop what you're doing and fix it. Mm-hmm. That's what kept me from spiraling even lower.
That's amazing, because I can't imagine just like being in that situation and knowing that this is real and this literally just happened, and you do not get any worse, but you in fact maintain control. I mean, that takes a lot of fucking willpower. That takes a shitload of fucking willpower to not let that shit go.
Definitely.
You know what I mean?
Hard, yeah.
Probably one of the hardest things you've ever done.
Yeah,
definitely. Oof, fuck me, I couldn't even imagine doing that. Juan?
I mean, for me, kind of, I was raised up in a traditional Mexican family, so food was always there, right? My mom cooked very well, made food, per request. Like I said, low-income family, so food is usually something that is always there at the time. That's something that she would always make a point to have there. We're always going to have a home. We're always going to have food on the table, no matter what, regardless of any of the situations.
Yeah.
So, I mean, once you don't have that type of, you don't have that income or the other stuff that, other kids have, which she did her best job, just kind of like Ed's mom saying she worked 3 jobs. I know for the big part of, my life is my mom worked 2 jobs. She still, cooked meals for my dad, made sure that he was always fed, even though he didn't provide as much as he should have, and forcing my mom to work more. So that definitely affected that as well. But I was always obese, just obese from as a child. I actually have a picture on my fridge where I'm like, I think less than a year old, and I actually have like adult-sized plates. That's what I would eat. Like I was eating like chicken before I was even 1, like just because that's what I wanted. So like I said, I always ate a lot. Weight wasn't, like I said, I knew I was fat, I was overweight. Your typical gordo, gordito, things like that, family members, school, teased here and there, not necessarily bullied a whole lot, maybe your occasional here and there, but I decided to try to put it into sports. So usually big guys have a purpose, football, things like that. So I was always the big guy. Now I wasn't always the best. And then, like I said, as it continued, I know, I think 7th grade was the bigger turning point as far as my weight goes. It actually got worse. I know that because at that point I would actually eat the school's lunch, and then that's when they had like pizza available. Right? So I would get slices of pizza. I remember I started 6th grade because even in elementary they were like always testing me, make sure I didn't have diabetes, doing all kinds of stuff, like because of my overweight, being overweight. And so I know I ended like 6th grade at 185. By the end of 7th grade I was like 225, and then by the end of 9th grade I was already hitting like 275, right? So into high school I went up to 305 pounds at the most. But like I said, I was always still active. I always played with my friends. Like I said, your typical like normal things that we. Nutrition was never something that was always taken into account. So my mom didn't know about nutrition. She just knew how to make food taste really damn good. So that was kind of the thing. And the other thing that kind of blows my mind now that I look at it is that how much effort I would put into sports training. I would actually myself do 2-a-days during off season or even in season to try to just become a better athlete. But there was not one single coach that was like, hey man, if you lost weight, I bet you could do a lot better.
Yeah.
I bet you could do a lot better.
So you didn't have that. You didn't have that support system, really.
Yeah, I didn't, and like I said, and I had it where, you knew you were overweight, you knew you were fat. Like I said, I don't feel that I was like very disappointed in myself, or struggled with it because I felt like I found a purpose for it at some point, and with the sports aspect. But like I said, also friends weren't like, oh man, you're fat, like you're overweight or anything. Yeah. Like they were always like, oh man, you're the big thing that I noticed with a lot of people who are overweight. Oh man, you're swole. It's a lot of muscle. And then
when in reality,
and then what happens?
Don't be like, what the fuck are you lying to me?
And then what happens is when you transform, when you take that change, and then you're actually like you lose a lot of weight. You're like, dude, you're really fat. I was like, motherfucker, I know.
Yeah, I knew you had to lie to me.
Like you don't have to lie to me. We were friends. Like we wouldn't have been any less friends if you knew I was fat.
Yeah, just say it.
Right?
Just say it.
Yeah, just say it.
It's funny that you say that. I actually had a conversation with a buddy of mine about honesty, whether it's solicited or unsolicited honesty. Actually made a video about it today, in fact. It goes to I asked this guy to be on the show a long time ago, and for 3 months he ignored me. He actually told me he would do it. He gave me his phone number, gave me all this information, and then he just ignored me for 3 months. Just wouldn't take my phone calls, wouldn't take my text messages, wouldn't respond to my messages, whatever. I made this video when I was going to College Station to work with Jesse Huerta, and he responds back to me, and he basically tells me that my personality is just a front. He doesn't really approve of it. He didn't want to be on the show because he felt like he wouldn't even share it with his customers or his friends or anything like that, and it wasn't for him. And he said, I know that this is just my unsolicited opinion, but I feel like I want to be honest with you because I know a lot of people won't be. And what you're saying is very true. Yeah. A lot of people will not tell you flat out, you're fat, you're lazy, you're fucking up, you're ruining your life, whatever.
Like, but it could even be something as simple like, hey man, you should really think about your weight. It could be just something like that. Yeah. Right?
It could be something simple, it could be subtle, or it could be sharp. Yeah. But we find that a lot of people refuse to be honest in lieu of hurting somebody's feelings, and when in reality, I think it exacerbates the problem. Like if someone would have told you a long time ago, like, "Hey, you're fat," you know what I mean? Like, or you're getting big. Like, do you think that would have swayed you a little bit more, and you would have gotten more into it?
At the way, and see, like as I grew up and through school, like I feel like I was one of the smart kids, right? So I was always inquisitive. I remember I would get in trouble. During elementary, junior high, just because I would ask questions or I was the smart ass at that point. So at that point, yes, if someone was to tell me, or even a coach, because I was so in love with sports, like that I just wanted to get better. That was my whole purpose of, through high school, is wanting to improve.
Really?
Is that someone tell my coach, be like, hey man, if you lost some weight, like, you would get better. You could be a better football player. You could be a better powerlifter. You could be whatever. Now in powerlifting, my weight helped me a shit ton.
Yeah, it would help you a lot.
It helped me a shit ton. Yeah. Like I was good at it, right? But like I said, if someone told me for any other reason, like, I'm gonna look stuff up, or I would be like, hey coach, hey so and so, like, where can I start? Where's my starting point?
Do you think that there's a very crystal clear reason why no one ever told you, like, hey, like this needs to happen?
I think that's just the society we live in, man.
You think
so?
Like
you said, people are afraid to hurt people's feelings, but the thing is you have to look beyond that and see what it truly is. Did you hurt my feelings, or did you help me realize that I had a problem? And I think that's what people fail to realize is they don't want to see the problem. How can I say this? They don't want to address. Okay, I wouldn't want to address the problem in you because I don't want to hurt your feelings. So that's why I didn't do it. I'd rather just let you keep going on.
Do your thing until
realize
you
it for yourself.
Realize it for yourself.
Yeah.
Do you think it's better that way, or do you feel that more people should really intervene when it gets to the point where...
That's where it's a double-edged sword, man, because people... there's honest and then there's brutally honest. I feel like, especially nowadays, because of the way people are...
They're soft.
Yeah.
You can't be like honesty, like... If I tell you the truth, like, you get your feelings hurt, and you're like, well, like, fuck this guy, like, I don't like him anymore, like, which, you know, it could be a really good friend that you're trying to be honest with, but like I said, really, people that want to see you succeed are going to tell you how it is.
Yeah.
So, like I said, if any coach, any teacher, any family member, like, hey, I really, like, my concern is for his health, like, they're going to tell you, hey, man, you should really look into weight loss, you should really do this. But, no, they don't say anything. Like, oh, like, you know, just go about your day or
just
whatever.
Let him do
like,
his thing and whatnot.
Yeah, like, you know, they may still say, like, call you fat and stuff like that, but they won't say that, hey, being fat's a problem.
Yeah.
Like, it is a problem.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It gets to a problem. Yeah, because it comes down to your health.
Yeah.
You know what I
mean?
mean? And that's what it is. And I think nowadays, if you were to say that, like, if you had a client, a lady or a man who was obese, and you say, look, you cannot keep doing this. Like, you're literally, your health is at stake. You are literally going to die. I think it goes away from what it's meant to be about their health, and it goes to fat shaming, and then it turns into a real serious issue. It almost turns into your professional critique, and your professional advice turns into a personal attack.
Yeah.
And you have to unblur that line so much to the point where it's almost not saying that it's too much work, but if you have to put in so much effort to make your stance clear, it almost seems like it would be the result would be inevitable, whether it came off as a professional critique or a personal attack. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's that's an interesting thought, Epic, for sharing too, because I think a lot of people don't talk about that one moment. So you basically didn't have that one like serious moment.
For me, like I said, and I graduated. Like I said, I graduated high school, and then, like I said, I did my first year of college, freshman. And to me, at that point, it was like almost like just an aha moment, right? Yeah. I don't want to say it was just like that, but it was just literally like one day.
Were you living with your parents?
I was living with my parents at the time, and I remember what I was doing. I was actually on the computer. We were like looking through YouTube or whatever, and a buddy was actually just hanging out while I was doing homework, and then I was eating. I think I was actually eating like Hamburger Helper, right?
Yeah,
so like the whole pound, like I usually, would eat that stuff. And, I was eating it, and then I was just thinking as I was eating, I was like, and I remember, and it was one of my buddies, James, I was like, man, dude, I'm fucking tired of being fat. I was like, this is the last day, right? Because I was always, like I said, into sports. I was always reading like your Muscle, like Flex magazine. I was like, I want to look like this, like somehow. Like I want to not be fat. And I said, fuck this is the last day I'm doing this. Like I'm not eating like this anymore. So the next day, like I do your typical like bro, like I did grilled chicken. I would do like baked potatoes. I didn't really know what I was doing, but I knew I did something.
Yeah, do something.
I did something. So I did that for the longest time, and then, like I said, that's when I decided to kind of change because I had a passion for it, is devote my undergrad career to exercise science. I was like, I want to be the most optimal. I want to learn all this stuff to help me out. Particularly, that's how it started out at first, and then it evolved to, I want to help people, go through things that I went through, better, right? So they don't have to go through all this crap that I ended up going through. Cut out all the extra work and give you something that you can do.
Take away from, like legitimately take away from. And I think it helps because of your background. You can give very, very strategically placed advice and literally eliminate a lot of the guesswork for them and really provide them with that service. So now let's get back to our story. So now you're working out and you guys are working together. Where did powerlifting come in? When did powerlifting for you come in?
Let's see, man. Honestly, I've always have been interested in being strong. So that was always a big thing for me. And that was actually one of the things that I struggled with, man, because, as a lot of people don't know, I get a lot of customers that come into my store, and he does too, man. Bulk shred. I want to come in, I want to lose all the weight.
And I want to get strong as fuck.
At the same time.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, preach to the choir. Everybody wants to do that.
Everybody wants to do that, bro.
Everybody wants to do it.
And I was selling Jacob, one of our buddies, was like, when people tell me like that, I was like, oh, you want to be on steroids? Like,
basically, it's what it is. Yeah, you want to be on tren, you want to be on clean. Basically, it's what it is.
Testosterone. I was like, yeah, great. Like when you find something, like find a legitimate source, like let us know, right?
Hey, let me know.
Yeah.
When you create that, we'll buy it from you, bro.
Yeah. So strength was always at the back of my mind, man, because nobody. At a particular time, at a point in time, man, I was able to bench press 405, and I was like, oh man, damn, I'm strong as hell. Then I started losing weight, and it was like 385, 365, 345. I'm like, what the hell is happening, man? It consistency.
Yeah.
Another thing, big part of the story. What did I do? Ed, as Juan used to call me, the program hopper.
Yeah.
Like being honest with me, man. You know. Damn, Ed, program hopper. He was nice about it. He was joking about it. And I'm like, damn, maybe I am fucking up. Maybe I need to stop doing this. I was, man, like constantly. I was like, time under 10. I'm going to get my muscles bigger. Damn, I'm losing strength. I'm going to do Chico, powerlifting program, get stronger. Damn, I'm not getting muscular size like I want to. Let me go back. And it's just like, endless cycle, man.
But why? Is it just you just felt like you just had to go all over the place, or what?
That's just
What happens is usually what people do with a program hop is they're looking for a particular answer with that particular program, when in reality, like, you could essentially create the perfect program, but if you don't follow through with it, it doesn't matter. Now, if you would have stuck to one program, like I said again, when we were talking about having something to actually gauge on, then we could actually gauge which was really working. But he didn't. He wasn't giving it enough time. Even if it was like, a month, 2 months, 8 weeks worth, 2 months worth. Like that's not plenty of time. No. And then I started, showing him. I'm like, hey man, I was like, look at these guys. How long they're on their particular program. There's this other strength coach that we look at, and he was just mentioning. He's like, I recommend people to stay on a particular program for 1 year. He's like, 1 year. Follow your program. See what it does.
Couldn't even do that.
See what it does, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of the thing. Is I don't know. I joke with him, text him, phone call, whatever. We're seeing him in the gym. Damn, Ed, that program hopping, right?
Program hopping. Program hopper.
Like,
I like that.
And then he'll text me and he'll be like, "Hey man, what do you think? Like, what do you think about this?" And the time.
Oh my god, I would read stuff constantly because I want. I never tell him enough, man. But I look up to Juan. Yeah. He's younger than me. I'm the oldest guy in this room, but I look up to both of y'all.
Are you?
Because, yeah.
Yeah, the oldest one in the room. How old are you?
Goddamn 47. No, I'm 31, man. I'll be 32 in October.
Bro, I'm 30. I'm gonna be 31 in a couple
still
months.
Older than you.
Bro, oh my god.
Bro, I was able to buy beer.
Make it sound like you're like 40 years old.
No. I mean, we graduated together.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you're not that old.
You're like, you that dumb? You graduated 8 years late? No, man. So, yeah, I'll be 32 this year. But, I look up to, Juan a lot, man, just because, what he's done for me, what he's helped me with. And it even goes as far as, like, he was the reason I started working for GNC. Like, he's been that, he's made that much of an impact, not only in my life, but my family's life. Yeah. But back to what we were talking about, what were we talking about? What was the whole
program hopping?
Why were you program hopping so much when Juan was telling you, like, this is what you need to do?
Because I sat there and because I wanted to mirror him. What did Juan do? This guy was reading every day. So I wanted to get smarter.
Okay.
He's getting stronger every day. Why? Because he was reading. He was reading everything. So I read everything. I was like, damn. I just read, if I did one-legged squats with a dumbbell over my head, I'm going to get strong everywhere.
Yeah.
So what was I doing in the gym the next day?
Same shit.
And Juan is sitting over there thinking, this guy read another article. That kind of stuff, man. I was that.
This guy read another article.
It just has always been like that, man. Like,
Were you searching for an answer, or were you just...
I was like, if I know everything that I can know, there's no way I can be wrong.
So it goes back to the beginning where you were just doing everything and everything
being
and everything.
Superfluous about everything, just like, well, I heard if I do this and this, well, let me take those two ideas, push them together, I'm gonna have the ultimate answer.
So, like, when did the powerlifting come in though? Like, when did you go from all up to this, like, single leg dumbbell bullshit to I'm gonna just bench squat deadlift and I'm good with that?
Because, again, he finally was like, dude, try this program. And he touched on it earlier. He was like, try this program out and see what you think. Am I allowed to like throw names or anything like that?
I mean, yeah, if you want. Like, did you write it for him?
I didn't write his program. Like I said, with him,
you took it from.
What I did is I oversee his program. Hey, this is what I think. This is what we like to change on it for his particular weaknesses, strengths, whatever. So that's not saying that that's what I do for everyone else, but it's just because for him, like I said, it's a little bit different relationship, like friend, client. A lot of things that I wouldn't say I would allow him to, but because of the fact that he was program hopping, it was actually also a learning experience for him and seeing why doing that wasn't working, right? We know when we pick programs or he picked a program, I'm like, hey man, this is a solid program. Or I even at some point suggested this type of program. I'm like, hey, this has worked really well. It has a lot of, and this is something that has a combination of things that you're always looking for.
Exactly.
But it's very consistent is the thing. It's
very good,
consistent.
very good.
So, and it came back to his principle, man. Like with the stuff that he was doing, he was very, very the linear progression as far as okay, these set of lifts, do these. You have a gauge for progression because each week you're going to increase 5 pounds. If it's anything other than legs, this is how the program is. You're increasing 5 pounds everything except legs. You're doing 10 pounds, and then you're able to see, did I get stronger? I mean, there's no other way, man. Like, did you do the lift? Yes. Did you do it the prescribed number of times? No. Okay, you didn't get stronger.
Yeah.
Okay, next week, did you do it? Yes. Did you do it the prescribed number? Yes. You got you.